Anyway, they were trying to piece it together. What they were finding all over the campsite were long brown and grey clumps of fur, of hair. They didn't know what belonged to. And they seemed to be, I guess in the bite marks in the wounds of these poor people were just evidence of like saliva still lying there as well.
Okay.
So it had been like chewed on. Yeah, so it had been some sort of wild animal attack, but it was huge, whatever this thing was. They said that the claw marks were spaced apart and it was like some massive paw print, which led them to thinking it was a bear initially. But they were like, what fucking bear does this in this area?
Right.
Yeah.
I know that area well.
So, yeah. So anyway, the
Sorry.
I'm trying to get to the dark. I'm building up to the darkness here. Hang on.
I had it. It was no. Keep going. Yes.
So okay. So then it gets worse, and this is like the part of the story where I was reading. I was like, oh wow, like this crazy murder happened. Like a werewolf took down these people, and then it got to this part where I'm about to get to here, where I was just like, oh, this got so fucking heavy all of a sudden.
Oh no.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, so
Okay. It gets heavier? Okay.
yes, so an officer comes out of the RV, and he's holding clothing that is obviously belongs to a little girl.
Oh.
Meaning they're missing a body somewhere. They found a mother, a father, and the son, and they don't know where there's obviously evidence of there's 4 in this family, obviously.
I feel bad on the inside right now.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
No. Oh, my God.
So not long after this sort of, they're all sort of like marking the evidence and all that sort of stuff. A police officer who is searching the perimeter of this campsite just lets out this horrible wail, like he just screams all of a sudden. And they all look over to him, and he's holding his flashlight up into the trees. A couple of police walk over to him, and he's got blood that's dripped down all over his uniform and his face. And I guess it was dripping down from above. So anyway, all the police officers shine their flashlights up into the trees, and they just see this little human hand hanging from more carnage up in the trees. Yeah, that's where I was like, fuck this story. Seriously.
God.
And I'm glad I'm sharing it with all you now.
Well, it's not a horror movie unless something terrible happens. So
Yes, this is pretty fucked up.
'tis the season.
So yeah, I guess whatever slaughtered this family had decided to go up a tree and finish feeding on this little girl's carcass. Ugh, I can't even say that sentence without
God.
really feeling.
So did they find this thing? Do they know what it looks like? I mean, like, besides fur and saliva?
Jan never found out if... I mean, this area apparently is synonymous for people seeing an upright walking canine of some description marching through the forest and just kind of stalking people and stuff. But usually people get the fuck out of there when they see this, apparently. So... Jan was saying later, just as kind of wrapping it up, she said, I would later see these same officers again many times afterwards. But on one particular evening, they informed me that they got word back from the lab tests where they'd taken the fur and saliva samples from the bodies.
Yeah.
She said the test results came back with an unknown origin species.
Ooh.
With the closest animal that they could be compared to was that of the Canis lupus, or a wolf.
Wow.
So I was like, do DNA tests give you like a close proximity animal? I guess maybe they do. Do you know about that, Melissa?
Yeah, they do, actually.
Okay.
But with DNA, you have to ask specific questions. So they probably... First of all, wanted to see if it matched the human genome, and then secondly, if it was an animal. So they run multiple DNA tests.
Okay.
But they asked different questions on each. So that's why they had 2 answers. One, it didn't match any of the human genome, and 2, the closest thing it matched was a canine.
Yeah. So,
Hey Matt,
yeah.
it's been 20 minutes and I've been drinking. Where did this take place again?
This was in western Kentucky. The place was called the Land Between the Lakes, the LBL. that the
Right. Okay.
locals know
National
as.
Forest. Okay.
So
Yeah.
I'm not
Okay.
going there either.
Yeah, so stay to there. I mean, I'm sure it's nice most of the year. Anyway, so I then moved on to, I wanted to like dive into some other like tales because, you know, dogman and these kind of like lycanthrope type creatures aren't obviously native to the States. They're all over the world. And so I thought with Day of the Dead also coming up with Halloween, a few days after Halloween. I'm not sure what it is. Anyway, Deus del Muertos. I butchered the fuck out of that. I apologize, but Day of the Dead. So I tried to like dive into some Latino ancient South American folklore, see where this sort of any of this sort of resonates with their legends as well. And I came across the legend of the Nahual, Nagual, the Nahual.
Oh.
And this sort of dates back to when even earlier than, you know, when the first European settlers started mingling with this. I say mingling; it was pretty terrible with the South American civilizations. And
It was aggressive mingling.
Yeah, it was. It certainly was. So it was very much along the same lines of that idea of the skinwalker. This thing is so it's like a shamanic ability of this wizard or sorceress kind of thing. Is able to kind of take the form of a wolf or a jaguar or something like that. And it's basically just the Skinwalker story. There was a
Wendigo, a
quick little
Skinwalker,
story
Wendigo.
of,
It's all like similar.
yeah. So it's obviously like this idea comes from all over the world. It's not just like a one sort of myth
Right.
and legend from some civilization. It's like all over the
Totally.
place.
Yeah.
So there was this one fun little quick story of these two girls from Mexico. Is actually a son of one of the girls telling the story of his mum, who told it to him when she was back when she was like 12, 13 years old. Her and her sister were kind of similar ages. And they were coming back from town towards their home, and it was like a 40-minute walk or whatever. And one of the girls has to stop to pee. So she goes off into the bushes and does her thing while the other girl sort of waits around and looks out and makes sure no one's coming kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So
Good sister.
this weird-looking dog apparently walks up to the two girls and just sits there looking at them. And so the girl who's peeing is like, "Shh, get out of here. Go on, get the fuck out of here. Quit watching me, man. I can't do this." So she tries like, shooing it away, and she says she goes to, I guess she does this to dogs all the time, and they're like, this is Mexico, so it's not uncommon for stray dogs to just be walking around. There's something really odd about this dog, the way it looked. They didn't really describe it too much, other than it was like odd, just an odd-looking dog, and they said it had no tail, because she tried to go pull its tail to try and tell it to fuck off, and the dog, I guess, didn't have a tail. It was just like
Was
an
that
odd
close to her? She was able to reach around and grab its not tail?
Yeah. Yeah. Did you say reach around? Yeah, so anyway, they kind of walk on. They don't think much of it, and they just leave to go home. Later that night, the two girls are in bed, and they hear scratching at the bedroom window. And it's like a really weird noise, and it's not just like, just like trees scratching against the house. It was rhythmic. It was like something was there. And they're fucking terrified. So they run. I guess they live with their grandparents at the time. So they run and go get Grandpa. Grandpa gets up, and of course he grabs a fucking shotgun and he starts stepping outside.
Yeah.
He's like, "Let's go.
Barrel-chested.
What do we got? What do you got?" And so the two girls follow Grandpa outside, and Grandma's with him as well. They come around the side of the house where the girl's window is, and here's this fucking dog, this really weird dog, just standing there looking at him. And there's like yellow eye shine, they say, when they were looking at it.
Oh.
And it's just
But not
really
like-
odd.
But not
Really
really
creeped
big,
out.
you're saying, at this point. Just a normal-sized dog. There's nothing super
Yeah, it doesn't
natural
feel like
necessarily
it's
at
a
this
big.
point.
Yeah, doesn't feel like it's overly big. They just describe it. They don't really give much of a description, which is a bummer. But they just describe it as odd. Anyway, so they start trying to shoo it away again. Get the fuck out of here, dog! What the hell's wrong with you, man? The kids start throwing rocks at it. Does nothing. The dog's just standing there watching him, just being like, "Yeah, what do you got?" So old Grandpa, points a shotgun and just blasts this fucking thing. Boom! Shoots
Nice.
it. And the dog doesn't
I'm picturing
really
Anthony
react too much
Hopkins
by
right
the sound
now
of
from
it.
like Legends of the Fall, where he stumbles out of the house with a shotgun and like shoots those
Yeah.
guys. Remember that?
Yeah, that's a pretty good visual right there. Sir Anthony Hopkins.
But shirtless.
Get away,
for sure.
animal.
Like
Yeah.
kind of like barrel chested, a little bit of a belly. You know, a
Yeah,
man's man.
sucking it in a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the dog's hit. They see it's hit, but it doesn't really do much other than this. Like it just kind of waddles off, walks away. It reminds me of that Skinwalker Ranch story. Remember, where the rancher shoots the big wolf, and it just kind of like takes this chunk off the wolf, and
Oh,
the wolf's
yeah.
like, "All right,
Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
leave, I guess," and like slowly ambles away, and just kind of it's not a big deal. Anyway,
So casual, yeah.
yeah. So this thing just walks off. Anyway, they don't hear from it again the rest of the night. They get back to sleep. It's fine. The next morning, they go around the side to just kind of investigate, and they see this like little blood spatter where the shotgun hit him, the dog. And they see footprints leading off in the dirt that go off into a field next to their house. So they follow the footprints in the dirt, the paw prints. And there's like blood trickling down, obviously, as it was walking. So they wounded it. Anyway, they say they follow this thing out into the field, and they said at some point the paw prints became footprints and kept going again with this blood following these footprints
Whoa.
now.
That's cool.
It was like some
That's
transformation took place, yeah.
Freaky.
Anyway, again,
Lycanthropy.
I can't verify that story at all, but geez, it was good times.
Yeah, I'm gonna repeat it as truth. Don't worry.
Yeah, and the final thing I want to end on is the creature called the El Cadejo. Cadejo?
Is this another dog
Cadeo?
story?
Yes, black dog. So there's like a Cadejo Negro and a Cadejo Blanca. So it's like a black one and a white one, and it's apparently these yin and yang spirits that fuck with travelers, basically. So the white Cadejo is
Especially gringos.
yeah, yes. So if truck drivers, any sort of traveling people, they kind of like fuck with them, I guess. So the white ones are supposed to be good, and they kind of lead you home and help you around, but only if you're pure of heart. If you've got a dark heart, and you tell stories about little girls getting torn up into the fucking trees by werewolves, then this the black Cadejo will
You're fucked, man.
will really fuck with you. Yeah. So this thing is and here's like listen to this. So before you see it, you smell the sulfurous, skunky like smell, right?
we've
like
heard
people
that
report.
before.
Demonic. It's very demonic.
Yeah, with like
Yeah.
Bigfoot kind of thing. And you might also hear the metal clang of a chain that supposedly hangs around its neck. I guess the name Cadejo comes from the Latin word for chains or something like that. Anyway, so you're not supposed to turn your back on this thing. Otherwise, horrible luck or something will befall you. And this thing can apparently like take over your mind and cause you to go crazy. So it says that it will try to engage you in some sort of conversation, apparently. And if you engage
He's a
in
friendly
conversation and start, if you guys engage with this thing, apparently it'll just send you to madness. You'll just be a fucking crazy person. You'll be insane. So, and if you turn your back, it will lure you to make bad decisions, especially like they say of drivers. You know, that's why they crash, because this thing has just driven them insane and makes them like turn off the road off the bridge or something all of a sudden. So it's supposed to, bad luck, bad omen. But it's like, I don't know if you ever heard this, but there's actually supposedly a myth or a legend with truckers in this country, or in a lot of different countries actually, where they say if they're on these long haul, going huge distances with little sleep, if you start to hallucinate a black dog on the road, it means you're going to pull over and go to sleep, otherwise you're going to fucking crash. It's like a really bad omen for them, apparently.
Oh, interesting. I never heard that before.
Yeah, so it's like a legit thing, apparently. Yeah, and so again, it's like it happens all over the world. There's in the UK.
Oh, I love stuff like that. That's cool.
Yeah, in the UK, there's the same deal again. It's called the black shuck, and it's supposedly again like a bad omen, and bad things are supposed to happen if you see this thing.
What if you hit a
dogs.
black bird? I was driving on the way to the sand dunes the other weekend, and this literally, I'm not even kidding you, like a black crow hit my windshield and bounced off. It was so freaky. I was
Did you
like,
kill
what does
it?
that mean? I don't know. I mean, it had to. I mean, I was going like 60 miles an hour.
Doesn't
Ooh.
that mean? Isn't that one of the goddess Hecate's